every day.
Bring you another video today. Wanted to initially hold off and not give like an immediate reaction to the draft because I just wanted to have like a couple days and just to let it sit and just like think of like why they went in certain cases. And 44 George Pickens was there. During draft day, I was screaming like yes, Pickens is there, only for him to go to a rival, but fine with it and what they recuperated and how they addressed a whole lot of situations of need and adding depth to the team. Got some of our picks back for the Deshaun Watson trade, which is a good thing itself. First pick, 68 overall, Martin Emerson out of Mississippi State. Tall corner, around 6'2", 40-time, did scare off some people at 4.54, but in terms of red zone threat, short yardage, running his zone scheme, covering tight ends in the slot, or just covering on the outside itself, I can see him getting a lot of reps around the red zone. The 4.54 doesn't really scare me because it's a difference between actual game speed and 40 speed. There's people that run 4.3s that can't cover, and there's people that run 4.3s that can't run routes. When we first drafted him, I'm like, wait a minute, like our quarterback room is crowded, but it makes sense now. We traded Troy Hill back to the Rams for a 5th round pick in next year's draft. Who we're going to move inside? There's been reports that they want to move Newsome inside sometimes, but I think that would be something that they will address like a little bit later on. And then with their versatility, having corners to play on the outside, they just need someone to play on the inside. So with Troy Hill was rated the #1 slot corner from 2008 to 2020. And then when he signed with us, he was ranked 32. So it's an easy way to make that trade. I can understand the sentiment with that, but we did him a solid. We traded him back to the Rams. He got paid and he go back to his squad. I just wish him nothing but the best. Pick number 78, Alex Wright, UAB. He's a long, lanky athlete. I don't pay attention to people's 40s. Like what you can do on and off the field matters way more than the underwear Olympics. Let's just keep it real. And he was picked at 78 overall. So right there, those are two immediate needs on the defense. And then my favorite pick of the round 3 was David Bell out of Purdue. He was going at 99. I actually had them pick him at 78. So to get him at 99, which is great value for that pick in that day itself. David Bell can catch a lot of contested catches, and he will work great inside the slot. Now, what that means for Jarvis, it may mean that we may not have Jarvis no more. We definitely need another veteran presence in the wide receiver locker room just for Deshaun Watson to have someone else more reliable to go to. Like, I like DPJ, but he needs another veteran receiver in there. And then my favorite pick, Perrian Winfrey from Oklahoma. Great pickup. One of the best things about the pickup was that I was actually listening to postgame and listening to coverage during the draft, and I got to hear the man's conference call, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. The first thing he said was he didn't care about where he was drafted. He went to where he needed to go to, and that's where God wanted him to go. I love that mentality. And then the other thing is that he's ready to work, and he's ready to work on his weaknesses to turn them into strengths. Personality, it translates. And I can see with his production in like years to come, if he can produce the right way, he will grow into one of the leaders of that locker room. You can just see it. The energy is infectious. You can see it. We got a kicker. I know, 4th round, right? So I can see what the logic is behind that because we lost a couple games last year just on kicking alone, not being able to make kicks, extra points. Certain situations where the coach said it was more beneficial to go for it on 4th down. Well, what happens to somebody with a leg like this? You don't have to go for it on 4th and 6. Like, you can just go ahead, take your points. Because at the end of the day, the only way you're going to win the game is if you score more points than the other team. We're never going to know how good a kicker is until November, until the winds get swirling, and then all of a sudden it's just like accuracy dip. But the last year we drafted Austin Cypher, he was perfect until we got into November, and then the wheels fell off and just couldn't compensate for the wind. Now this 5th one is kind of surprising, but from a standpoint, it kind of makes sense because Andrew Berry has told you his MO in the past. I'm going to draft replacements and groom replacements. And unfortunately, one of our favorites, Kareem Hunt, looks like they're trying to get a replacement in for Kareem Hunt at a cheaper rate. So picking Jerome Ford at 156, one of the strengths I think is in the passing game. They want to use him more as a receiver and spell Chubb. But that running back room is crowded, man. 5 running backs. You got Demetric, you got Chubb, you got Hunt, you got Dearness. I can see a position change for Demetric. And maybe something going on where someone gets traded, someone gets cut, but we're going to lose a good player in the running back room this year. Round 6, pick number 202 is Michael Woods, receiver at Oklahoma. Double that down at 223, and they take Isaiah Thomas, the defensive end from Oklahoma, and he'll have a chance in the pass. I see this more as a depth rotational piece, a depth pass rusher to come in situations to really like spell like the main pass rushers itself. I think he will make the rotation, but he may be a couple years away. I mean, that's the thing with these later picks. They're a couple years away. You could hit on some of these, but they're more so like development. Then 246 overall, Dawson Deaton, center at Texas Tech. It's just more depth. Last pick I'll go over, and the last pick I'll go over is just receiver Isaiah Weston, 6'4", 210. 440. I know a little bit earlier, underwear Olympics, it doesn't really make sense, but he does show the ability to separate, and then with that size and that strength at that speed, that will be valuable. I can see him, unless his route running is not polished or crispy and he has issues with his route, I easily see him making the squad. But in all seriousness, I like the draft. I like what we did as far as trading back and getting more pieces. I honestly think that Booth was their pick at 44. And then when someone traded up to take Booth, I think that was it. I don't think Pickens was never in play. I think they threw Pickens off their board just because of the distractions with having Pickens and then also having Watson, unfortunately. You have to take casualties there. It's not like in years past where we get multiple flashy first round picks where we would win day one or we'll win something with our draft picks or have optimism. This is more so like, hey, we've been there. Hey, we made great decisions in the past. And we need to add on to that foundation and try to find pieces that further sustains our organization and further sustains the ability for us to be competitive in the future. All right, guys, that's my breakdown of the draft. There's always next year. But remember, this year,